Since Elon Musk took over Twitter, I've been noticing a lot of really bad takes from people whose opinions that I respect. People that I think are often considered free thinkers or moderates. Some are considered conservatives, echoing the exact same garbage position of a lot of people on the left, the position the left has had for a very long time. And it's really shocking and sad. Jordan Peterson, I think gets a lot of things right. And, one bad take, doesn't erase the good things that somebody's done. And I'm not sure that this is like a political take as much as it's like a boomer take, because I'm noticing this disturbing trend of people who are quote unquote our guys or gals suddenly having a problem with online anonymity, talking about how Elon Musk should get rid of online anonymity. And that's a terrible take. That's just a really, really bad take. Online anonymity is extremely important. And I want to get into what Jordan Peterson said, and then what John Rich said, and what a couple other people said right after a quick word from this video's sponsor. Huge shout out to this video's sponsor, Kamikoto. That's right, Kamikoto makes Japanese steel kitchen knives using traditional techniques from Japan. Over 800 years of Japanese technology and expertise have gone into creating the steel that this knife has been meticulously handcrafted from, using techniques that date all the way back to the Edo period of Japan. Kamikoto only uses steel sourced from mills in Japan. Each knife comes in a beautiful, heavy-duty wood box. It makes sure that the knife is stored safely. Each knife is individually inspected and comes with a lifetime guarantee. These are knives that I personally own and use. I got a set through this promotion. Over Christmas, I used it to cut a beautiful brisket that I had made for the holidays, and cut ham and turkey and all sorts of things. Not only did it work flawlessly, but it was a talking point at the table. The knives felt like the perfect weight. They were perfectly balanced. And on top of all of this, just for you, my subscribers, you guys can get an additional $50 off any purchase you make with discount code TheQuartering. So click the link below and go to kamikoto.com/thequartering and use promo code TheQuartering to save an extra $50 today. So, let's jump into what Jordan said and why I disagree with it. And I just think it's important to kind of call out bad takes on your own side once in a while. This doesn't mean I don't like Jordan Peterson or I have anything against him. In fact, I would absolutely love to talk to him about it. But here's a take.
Biggest problem that I can see is that the large online platforms allow anonymous troll demons.
No, that's not a problem. That's a very important thing. As somebody who has literally been physically assaulted for their opinion online, and if you watch this channel, you see just how many like unhinged lunatics there are out there. I don't want one of these weirdos showing up at my house, or people know who I am, okay? But I'm really thinking more about like you, right? What if one of these weirdos is your neighbor and they show up at your house and they're throwing stuff through your windows, or, that's why anonymity is important. What about all the people that work in the belly of the beast? Like, do you know how many this is the same argument against anonymous news sources, which are crucial. There's so many people out there who, for example, work in the tech industry, work at Twitter, work at Facebook, that share information online. But if they don't have that anonymity, that's gonna go away. What about journalists? Not urinalists, but real journalists, in particular other countries too. They can't. They have to have online anonymity. It's like, and if anybody's pushing for this, I'm very concerned about trusting them. It's extremely important
To rampage through society with no cost to themselves. And I can identify these people quite accurately now. This will make a number of the people who are watching and listening uncomfortable, because they'll be in the list of people who do this sort of thing. So,
and by the way, Jordan, Again, Jordan is just, I understand and sympathize. Sometimes it gets too much for me. I mean, I've quit and come back to Twitter a zillion times, right? But like, the dude is just too soft for Twitter. There is a feature, right, that Twitter has built in that you can disable replies to your tweets. All he has to do is turn that on. Or he could turn on only people who I follow can respond to my tweets. Now, the reason Jordan isn't going to do that is because we know what that means. That you're weak. We make fun of people who do that. But if it's like genuine, if I have to choose between losing his voice on the platform and not being able to reply to him directly, I'd rather still have him on the platform.
So the first thing is they have an anonymous name. The second thing is the anonymous name usually has something psychologically significant about it in a very negative direction. So it's self-denigrating, or it's demonic, or it's otherwise offensive, and purposefully so.
I wouldn't say that. I'd say most of the anons are usually, he didn't even use the name and a bunch of numbers trope, which is like literally true.
And then the people who are utter cowards, likely to be narcissists and Machiavellians.
I don't think that anonymity makes you a coward. It makes you smart. There are people that interact with me on Twitter that I know are in the belly of the beast, and they can't risk getting fired. They're supposed to risk getting fired so that they can use their real name just so they can speak freely. I don't think that that's a fair thing to expect of people.
Resentful people sitting in their basement at home, dwelling on their misery and doing everything they can to spew.
And now he's using this is another thing that, like, Jordan, like, dude, you're the king of defending, in particular, young men who are denigrated online. And you're using that kind of basement dweller trope, which, I don't like that. I disagree vehemently with that. I post terrible things on Twitter, and I almost never do so from my basement nowadays.
Toxicity out into the world. Alone in their bedrooms, they're
again, if you say mean stuff to Jordan Peterson, then you must be a lonely loser. This is like leftist stuff.
Just isolated people who aren't causing any trouble. But as soon as they multiply themselves millions of times using this incredible, powerful computer technology, they're not even human anymore. In my estimation, they're literally a demonic force. And I mean that in a technical sense, right? You and I aren't exactly you and I in this conversation because we're amplified hundreds of times or thousands of times or hundreds of thousands of times. And so we're not just human, we're androids in some sense operating in a virtual space. And these online trolls have that power because they have
so they're the same as you then.
Access to an audience that they would never gather by their own merits. They are saying things that are derisive and inflammatory and that would absolutely 100% get them punched if they ever said it in public.
That's the point. That's why online anonymity is important. I think this is more of a boomer take than a conservative take because I don't know if Jordan Peterson is technically conservative. Maybe he is. I don't know. But like, no, dude. Like, that's why it's important. Anonymity has always been at the core of the importance of the internet. Screen names were like the very first thing people used, like with AOL, ICQ. People weren't putting their first and last name on there. It's at the very base, okay, at the very like carnal level of this, it's about safety. On top of that, it's about self-preservation in your industry. You need that. Journalists need that. You don't think people in the NBA and the NFL have burner accounts? I don't have a burner account. I mean, I have an account that I log into that sometimes just to see tweets from people who have blocked me, but I don't interact and use it. You know what I mean? Like, and like, it's different when you're a public figure. Like, people know me. People know my name. People know where I live. It sucks. I wouldn't wish that on other people. I don't want Jim Johnson, who's a tow truck driver, saying like, hey, my neighbor's kind of a piece of garbage, and then having that guy come on over and like, it doesn't really, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter.
Imagine that there's a hierarchy of unconstrained people, and there's a variety of people who are very unconstrained, but in normal social discourse would be able to keep themselves under control because of the controls that are there in normal social discourse. You lift those controls and they just go off.
That's good. That's the good thing. That's why anonymity is important. Now, I get like the bots and the people flooding your replies, and you have like, you know, these leftist YouTubers that are Twitter and Twitch personalities that clearly use bots and whatever. Block them. Set your replies to people I follow only. Set your replies to, you know, no replies. And it immediately removes their access to you, Jordan. And you have John Rich, too. 16,000 likes. Who the heck are these people? John Rich is like on Tim Pool all the time. He's kicking it with Tim Pool. If Elon Musk is going to ban something on this platform, ban anonymous accounts. No. Dude, no. Now went up to 17,000 likes. Who the heck is liking this? No. Here's Eliza. Good take from Eliza. Political dissidents, activists, whistleblowers, journalists, and survivors globally need the ability to remain anonymous. Like, what? I'm normally with you, but I disagree on this one. That feels like the great first step to requiring, quote, verification to use the internet, something the World Economic Forum proudly claims to be working on. John says, that's quite the stretch of extrapolation here. When can you remain anonymous on Twitter and attack and defame people relentlessly with no accountability? That's a problem. No, it isn't. It isn't. You're allowed to be anonymous. And oh, by the way, there's really very little true anonymity. And so if there is an anonymous Twitter account spreading lies that hurt you financially to actually meet, you know, the requirements of defamation, you could sue Twitter and you could find out who those people are. It's really not that difficult. I mean, it's really easy to say this as a multimillionaire, but for those of us who are conservative that work in fields that are extremely hostile to conservatives that aren't multimillionaires, it's more difficult. Out of touch much? I think this is just like a boomer take, but I gotta call it out. And there's other guys who are other commentators who are doing it too. And no. Anonymity is absolutely important and must be protected. And if Elon were to move and ban, you know, anonymity or anonymous accounts on Twitter, that would be one of the biggest mistakes. I mean, I would advocate everyone leaving Twitter at that point, even as somebody who doesn't need it because I can't really have it anymore. Absolute boomer con level takes. And actually, I mean, all leftists take too. Leftists are all about it. This is just some bad takes. Do better, guys. Anonymity is important, and hopefully I have changed their minds on this if they see the video.